Peace and riches blessings to you. I am Michael Bernard Beckwith, the founder and the spiritual director of the Agape International Spiritual Center in Los Angeles, California, and the author of Life Visioning, Fulfilling Your Soul's Potential. That's very important because the theme here in Toronto will be cultivating your mental garden. I'll be dealing with cultivating the spirit of creativity, cultivating the birth of creativity. Ricky Beebe will be with me, and she'll be providing a soundtrack of unfoldment of your soul. Powerful chanting, powerful music. We're going to create such enthusiasm, such power, such potency, that the vision that's within you, which is your destiny, will be in the right condition for its unfoldment. I want to see you there. It's Friday. It's June the 4th. It's already on your soul's calendar. Put it on your physical calendar. Let's meet. Let's have a great time. I'll see you then. Peace and riches blessings.
Down around the corner, half a mile from here, see them old trains running, and you watch them disappear without love. Where would you be now? Without love. No, I saw Miss Susie down along the tracks. She lost her home and her family, and she won't be coming back without love. Where would you be now, now, now? Without love. Well, the in North Central and the South of Central Freight, gotta keep on pushing, mama, 'cause you know they're running late without love. Where would you be now, now, now? Without love. Cold and hard for the miles that they go down without love. Where would you be now, 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 now? Without love. Without love. Without love, where would you be now?
Good morning. How is everybody? Good. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Toronto. My name is Tanis. And welcome to another season of marathons in Toronto and street closures. So thank you all for getting down here. I'm sure we're going to have dribs and drabs of people that are arriving once they get through the runners. If you're new to us, welcome. Hello to everybody who's watching at home or watching in archives. Couple of announcements I want to draw your attention to. If you are new to us, you've got a program. In the program are lyrics to all the songs we'll be doing today that you can sing along with, and there are some announcements. This Wednesday, Earth Day, during the meditation at 6:15, we have a special guest, Brenda McIntyre. She is a drummer, a Juno Award-winning drummer. She will be joining Helen for the meditation service this week, so come on down and enjoy that bliss that will be happening. Also, the Women's Intention Circle, next meeting is Monday, April 27th from 7 to 9. Then the Mindful Men's Treehouse, their next gathering is Thursday, April 30th from 7 to 9. That's with Reverend Jonathan. And Sunday, May 3rd, so 2 weeks today, it is our annual spring cleanup. We are painting the front of the building because it's long overdue. So if you can help out after service, bring grubby clothes. We're going to clean up, spruce up, and be sparkling clean for this fabulous new spring and summer. Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm always ready.
He's always ready. Let's welcome Reverend Jonathan Zenz.
Good morning. We're gonna lead right off in song. Let's do it. We are a small but mighty group today.
This little light of mine, yeah, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day, 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 every day. Gonna let my little light shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Well, everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah, everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day, 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 every day. Gonna let my little light shine. This little light of mine.
This is the solo part.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Whoa, oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day, 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 every day. Gonna let my little light shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah, well, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day, 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 every day. Gonna let my little light shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day, 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 every day. Gonna let my little light shine.
More.
How is everyone this morning?
Awake now.
Yes, we are awake. We are alive. We are perfectly present. We are experiencing life. And that's what this is all about. That's what this experience of this Sunday morning is all about. The expression of life. I want to welcome everyone who is here for the first time. Who's visiting us for the first time today. I know, yes, welcome, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you join us today and bring your consciousness to this experience. Can you go grab? We've got a gift for you, so we're gonna give you a gift. How's that sound? You didn't even realize you were getting a gift today. Helen's gonna go grab that for you. One of the things that I wanted to let you know about is Johanna van Gelder is doing a online poetry as spiritual practice workshop that is May 1st through the 31st, 15 minutes a day for 30 consecutive days. There are postcards out there, and she's a friend of our center, and she's in ministerial class with Helen, so I just thought I would let you know about that. And if you are interested in poetry as spiritual practice, take a look at that. When it says 7:30 a.m. on the postcard, that is Pacific time, so it's actually 10:30 a.m. our time, which is when the calls happen, just for clarification. Always good to be clear, right? We come here as a spiritual community every single Sunday, and we come here with a particular purpose in mind. At least I come here with a particular purpose in mind. I won't say that I know what your purpose is, but I trust it's for something good. But we come here to know one thing and to remind ourselves of one thing. We are a spiritual community, and our purpose is to support personal expansion and transformation. Right?
Yes.
Right.
How many people have been transformed by this philosophy? Yeah. So if you are new to this philosophy, know that it is a transformative philosophy to the degree that you want it to be, because I'm also not here to tell you what to think, ever. But I know that this has helped me. We are a spiritual community supporting personal expansion and transformation, and this is done by empowering everyone to know who they are at the end of the day. Knowing who we are is the most important thing. So, we celebrate by means of music, we celebrate by means of the spoken word, which sounds like I'm probably going to get up here and do, some like slam poetry, which I won't be doing. Maybe someday, but not today. But one of the great joys of my job is that I get to teach. And really, that's the thing that I find to be most important for me, is the capacity to teach. Because it is in the classes for this philosophy that you really learn how to embody these principles in your life. The last 2 years, wow, I'm getting emotional around this. For the past 2 years, I have guided 9 brilliant practitioner students through the course of their studies to become licensed spiritual practitioners. And this Tuesday, they are due to take their written examination, their written licensing examination, this Tuesday. They have stepped in front of you as practitioner interns, and now I'm going to invite our practitioner license candidate to the lectern today to offer her words of wisdom. So please welcome Linda Visosky.
Thank you, Jonathan. Move this back a bit. Good morning, and thank you. Yes, 2 days from now, the Divine Nine, as Reverend Jonathan coined us way back on the opening night class, 2013. And here we are now, ready to write our final written exam on Tuesday. So I would be remiss this morning if not sharing with you all very briefly my sacred journey over the past 18 months and to where I stand today. Yes, gosh, it was only 3.5 years that I walked through those doors. On a suggestion by a very special friend who's sitting in the front row today, she said, why don't you join me at the Center of Spiritual Living, 1311 Queen Street East, and come and join me for service. Now, you have to realize I lived in Caledon at that time for 25 years, and she said, oh, it's just in Leslieville. And I thought to myself, Leslieville? Where's that? It sounded like just in some place in the no man's land. Anyway, well, I arrived at service that morning feeling very skeptical because Helen said nothing. She just said, just come join me, come and see. So I was greeted warmly, and I found that aisle seat right in the back where Donna is, and I sat there next to the sanctuary. I was almost glued to the back wall, I really was. And then the Queen Street Band started to sing. Well, it was a song I knew, and guess what I did? I just pounced into the nearest Kleenex box on the chair next to me, and truly I did not come out for almost 20 minutes. I thought, what's happening to me, right? I really was shocked, right? Anyway, I took some deep breaths, took in as much of the service I can. It was one of Jonathan's first. And then I quickly pole vaulted out the door. I thought, I'm not even staying to hear Helen or anything else. I got to get out of here, right? So out I went, and I got into my car, and my heart was pounding. My head was saying, what? And my heart was saying, you're home. So round to the next Sunday, I came back, and this time, I was still huddled in the back wall there, sitting where Donna is, and but this time I was participating a little bit more and singing a few words, and after service, I got to the point, I even stayed for coffee. That was a change. And then, fast forward a few months, I got such a thirst for this knowledge. So Science of Mind 100 came, class, and Helen said, you're doing it right. I said, oh, yeah, sure. Science of Mind 102, I was just ravenous for this work. Then I proceeded to the 200 series, and as you know, Troward, Emerson, and my favorite book of all, The Thing Called You, written by Ernest Holmes. So after an interview with Jonathan, I set my intention to enter into practitioner school. That was September 17th, 2013. I really knew it was my calling. So to keep this brief, these past 18 months, I've revealed and unraveled many, many thoughts and limiting beliefs that were truly limiting beliefs still percolating in my subconscious minds from my childhood. And even today, my grandson here is Chris, and I have had long conversations about limited beliefs and patterns, how they keep us stuck, and it's not the spiritual truth. We have long conversations about this. And then the other one is I had a pattern that kept lingering with me about I wasn't good enough. Can anybody relate to that? My God, I had parents that were just such high achievers, and I just felt I could never live up to them. So I never felt good enough. Well, you'll be glad to know I've given that up, because that pattern no longer has power over me, because I know the truth of who I am. I am divine. I am enough. I am whole and complete as I am. So the journey through practitioner studies, to me, requires 3 qualities: honesty, commitment, and courage. Honestly, I had my moments in that first year, and Jonathan and Helen will tell you. There was such self-doubt, these patterns would rear their ugly heads, and I'd get to a place where I'd almost let them sabotage me, but I knew the truth. So I would get clarity and move forth. I began to get really honest about with myself, and chose to make myself as my number one priority. I knew the road to becoming a spiritual practitioner was and is my calling. I honored my commitment to live my life of truly knowing and living from a place of conscious living, consciously questioning and reevaluating my thoughts and beliefs. Are these really mine? Are these really the spiritual truth? The final quality required to become a practitioner in my mind is one of courage. Yes, one of courage, because I am here now to stand before you to say that I live full out every day in my true magnificence. So I would like to share some words with you wise words from Joseph Campbell, from his book, The Hero with the Thousand Faces. This passage was included in our practitioner manual in first year, and many of the students here will remember this. The call, as apprehended by the mystic, marked what has been deemed the awakening of the self. Whether great or small, and no matter what the stage or grade of life, the call rings. A mystery of transfiguration, a rite, a moment of spiritual passage, which when complete amounts to a dying and a birth. The familiar life has been outgrown. The old concepts, ideals, and emotional patterns no longer fit. The time for passing of a threshold is at hand. Yes, it's time for us all to pass through a threshold and to awake to our true magnificence. So before I close, I want to express my deepest gratitude, first of all, to Reverend Jonathan. His commitment, his leadership, his ability to go the extra mile with each and every one of us, I can't thank you enough. To Margaret Ann, who's here today, who's been a real rock for me through this. Even in class in the first year when I was trembling in my boots, I'd look over to her and her quiet smile, her groundedness, her true magnificence would show forth, and I knew I could continue. And to this lovely lady down here, what can I say? To Helen, who's been a friend, a confidant, and a person that I treasure deeply in my life. And I can't imagine how my life would be different if I hadn't have said, yes, I'll come to the Center of Spiritual Living 3.5 years ago. So I thank you. Now, in closing, I would like to share a brief story with you, Jonathan. While vacation on Isla Mujeres in Mexico, and I won't be long, several years ago, I visited one of my favorite cafes, and it's brightly colored, and it's got, Rivers has been there, and so has Chris. It's got big posters. It's called Magagua, and Magagua is an African dialect word, and what it means is an aha moment, a moment of revelation, a moment of aha. So on the wall are big life-size posters of people going like this, going like this, and whatever. It's just absolutely beautiful. So the owner of it is from Barcelona, and he came over to me one day, and we'd have long conversations about the universe and God, and he said, Linda, I have a present for you. I said, oh, well, Bear, thank you very much. So he said, yeah, here it is. So here's what he gave me that day. Change your thoughts and you'll change your world. So that's very significant to me because practitioner studies has been about changing my thoughts and changing my world. So I would like to create an affirmation with us today, and it goes like this. I change my thoughts and I change my world. Okay, let's say it twice together. I change my thoughts and I change my world. Again, I change my thoughts and I change my world. Thank you. I'll take this. Oh,
Yeah, take that off. Show the world. There seems to be an alignment. And it's it's, the thing is there's no fate, there's no kismet. We don't teach those things. But there's an alignment in the outpicturing of my life. And I'm grateful for you sharing what you shared today. So the Divine Nine, the idea of the Divine Nine, actually, because when I graduated from ministerial, there were 9 of us. And so there's the Divine Nine, and then you are my Divine Nine. And upon your licensing, we will have 13 licensed practitioners within this center. It's like Jesus and his disciples. I also want us all to keep in mind the idea of courage. Courage is an important aspect of what I'm talking about today. I'm also grateful for you bringing that up. Mm-hmm. There are no mistakes. There are no mistakes. So I invite you to take a breath and allow yourself to realize the thoughts that are occurring in your mind right here and right now, that those thoughts are grounded in belief. And that belief is grounded in a feeling you have about your place in this world. And all I want you to know right in this moment is that all is well. All is well, and I am grateful. All is well, and now it's time to let it go. All is well, and I am grateful. Life is good, and so it is. All is well, and I am grateful. All is well, and now it's time to let it go. All is well, and I am grateful. Life is good, and so it is. And so with this idea that life is good right here and right now, I invite you to relax, allow yourself to be renewed by these wonderful words from Linda.
Yes, I trust and I know in this divine moment that all is well. I trust and I know that there is one divine presence created to work in and through each one of us at all times. This creative energy is who and what we are. We are love, peace, joy, wisdom, and understanding. And I know, and I trust and I know that God is the source of all creation. God is my substance, my source, and my supply. This is who and what I am, and I stand in true magnificence and share my magnificence with the world. And I declare for each and every person here today, as spring is here, let us shine our light. Let's be reborn to a new, higher level of consciousness of who we are. We are God. We are divine presence. And I declare with grace and ease that God is all there is. And with grace and gratitude for this center, for the divine presence in my life, for God is the divine givingness of all at all times. So with great grace and gratitude, I release these wonderful words to the law that only knows to create, that only knows to say yes. I release these words, I let them go, and I let it be so. And together we say, and so it is now.
All is well, and I am grateful. All is well, and now it's time to let it go. All is well, and I am grateful. Life is good, and so it is. Life is good, and so it is. Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
It's beautiful. Just beautiful. There's a joke. Well, it's not really a joke. There's this funny thing that happens with the woman who brought you to this center, Linda, between her and me, Helen. There's a funny thing. As Helen entered ministerial school, one of the things she told me is that she would not be a singing minister. And I said, well, not all ministers sing. And she said, but so many of you do. I said, well, we are the minority. You've just been exposed to more of the minority than the majority. But one thing I will tell you is that I know that you don't have plans on being a pulpit minister, but if you do, get people like this behind you. Because what they share with this center brings me tremendous spiritual nourishment, and I trust it brings you spiritual nourishment as well. And here, with the featured song of the day, please welcome Pierre Gautreau and the Queen Street Band.
Driving down life's winding road, it might seem You've been paying the price of living someone else's dream. You've got to make it your own and take your rightful place upon your throne. And even if you've been beaten to the bone, you're more than who you are. You're a precious stone and you're alive. Go for a ride. Go for a ride. Go for a ride, yeah. It may be dirt, it may be stone, but whatever road that you're traveling on, pull the top down, crank the music, feel the wind in your hair. Drive like it's no tomorrow, pain or sorrow, just breathe the air, you're alive. Go for a ride. Go for a ride. Go for a ride, yeah. Oh, the love's inside. Don't let your love hide. Take your love for a ride. Go for a ride. Go for a ride. Go for a ride, yeah. Hop on a plane, expand your brain, walk in the rain. Meditate, go on a date, collaborate. Sing a song, right or wrong, play along. Plant a tree, jump in the sea, live with glee. You're alive. Go for a ride. Go for a ride. Go for a ride, yeah. Just get out there and go for a ride. Oh, don't even think about it. Go for a ride. Yeah. Oh, just go for a ride. Go for a ride. Go for a ride.
Thank you. Pierre Gautreau and the Queen Street Band. What was that? The extended version. I'll be with you in a moment. Wasn't that ironic? I had a 10-page talk, and there are 3 pages here. Did you take my pages? Thank you. That's okay. Unfortunately, because my talks are inversely proportional to the number of pages, if I were only giving a 3-page talk, we'd be here for about an hour. With 10 pages, it'll maybe be 25 minutes. There is so much going on in my mind. Good stuff, really good stuff, really good stuff. And So we ended last week after 15 weeks of looking at the declarations of principles that were written by Ernest Holmes. And I actually I thought that I might joke around and call this week, well, now what? Like, what are we going to talk about now, right? And yet I was motivated to speak about the essay that I read this week, which is part of the Emerson online course. And the essay that we read this week is Self-Reliance. If you have never read Emerson, oh my God, are you missing out. It is incredible, incredible, inspiring stuff. So I suggest it to everyone. Take a look at it. The reaction at first may be, I don't understand this, but here's the thing about Emerson. Just read it, because you will glean exactly what needs to be gleaned. It is very, very dense and poetic language, but it is so worth it in what you glean.
What's your introductory recommend?
Actually, self-reliance, to be honest. Self-reliance, I think, I started the class with history. That was a slog. But self-reliance is definitely an amazing read. I'm going to start today with a quote of Ernest Holmes, actually, because Ernest Holmes was most profoundly affected by Emerson. Ernest Holmes started reading Emerson as a young boy. And this is where we see the seeds of thought that led to the development of what we call religious science, the particular branch of New Thought in which I am a minister, and you're at a religious science center, even though we call them centers for spiritual living for a number of reasons. Anyway, here's the quote that I'm going to start with today. Our time should be devoted to knowing the truth that sets humanity free from the problem of ignorance. That truth, which alone can bring enlightenment to the world. That war should cease. That people should live together in harmony because they have recognized the divinity within each other. Our time should be devoted to knowing the truth that sets humanity free from the problem of ignorance. That truth, which alone can bring enlightenment to the world. That war should cease. That people should live together in harmony because they have recognized the divinity within each other. Think about that. What is the truth that will allow pure peace to be the only thing that is ever expressed, that eliminates the need for war? That truth is that we are all one. And all people we encounter are our brothers and sisters. And so why would we engage in anything that was of a destructive nature to anyone in our family? We cannot do that without first knowing who we are. And that's why self-reliance for me is such an important essay and such an important idea. And this is where courage comes from, right? You cannot experience courage without self-reliance. You truly can't. Fear and trepidation always gives way to deeper wisdom and inspiration. Always, always, always. I think this is what you've experienced, these 9 brilliant students. They've experienced the melting away of fear and trepidation, and they have stepped into deeper wisdom and inspiration. Every time I read Emerson, it's as if I am reading it for the first time. Every single time. And it's funny because I've read Self-Reliance a lot. And I sat down to read, and I'm like, all these words are new. Like, there's a couple quotes in there. I'm like, okay, I remember that quote, but where the heck was all of this knowledge the last time I read it? Well, it was there. It's just, that's not what I was connecting with at that time. So it starts off, the essay starts off with Latin, of course, because that's helpful, because we all speak Latin, right? The Latin is nete quasi veris extra, which translated means never seek outside yourself. Never seek outside yourself. And there's the rub. If we are not seeking outside of ourselves, if we really take this idea to heart, and we live this idea, then why the heck would we need to come here? That's outside of the self. You coming and listening to me is seeking outside of yourself. Why would we need to read any books? That is seeking outside the self. Why would we study anything? Well, the reason is that these things combine, and they combine rightly so, to spark us, to be a catalyst for inspiration. They are a catalyst for what is within. So that as I read the words of Emerson as though it is for the first time, it is sparking within me some bit of knowledge. Not because I read it, but because I was inspired to it. And it flows through me. Inspiration comes from one place and one place only. It comes from the self. The self, by the way, with a capital S. Not the self that we recognize as being in this world of form and that can be, dragged down by all of the circumstances of life and, oh gosh, life is so hard, right? That's not inspired. Inspiration is to recognize all of these things out there as being what they are, which is a perfect expression of what's happening in your mind. And when we recognize this, we get to step into a new idea, because if that was created by me, it can be recreated by me. Therefore, change your thought and change your world. That's the entire premise of this teaching. Inspiration comes only from the self with a capital S. Emerson writes this: to believe your own thought, to believe that which is true for you in your private heart is true for all men, that is genius. To believe your own thought, to believe that which is true for you in your private heart is true for all men, that is genius. Now, granted, he uses gender-specific pronouns, so when I say for all men, reading what he wrote, it is not meant to exclude. It's just the language of the time. Genius, the idea of genius. I referenced this in the class this week, but there's a great TED Talk by Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, all about the idea of genius, and I will suggest anybody watch it. It's a wonderful, wonderful talk. But genius comes through critical thinking. I am here to inspire you to think critically about everything you encounter, everything you read, everything that shows up for you. Think about it critically. Don't just take it at face value. Don't take anything I say at face value. You are in charge of your own mind, and you are in charge of what you think about the things that you're experiencing. If I teach nothing else in this philosophy, I teach this. I am not here to tell you what to think. Think for yourselves. Stand firm in what you believe to be true at your heart level. And at the recognition that at that heart level, it being true for all people, that is genius. Critical thinking opens our eyes. It opens our eyes to a world of possibility that we may not even recognize. And in fact, most people are asleep. They've got their eyes closed to the world of possibility because they have not learned to think. All they have learned to do is follow. Well, that's not self-reliance at all. They've allowed themselves to come into a place of boring life. Oh, I must do this because this is the way it's always been done. So if this is the way it's always been done, I guess this is the way that it's going to continue to be done. Well, who wants that? I'm ready for something new. I'm ready for a new thought. Oh, good. Look at that. This philosophy is called New Thought. And so, I'm always looking for the next thing, the next inspired way of expressing this ministry. I'm looking for the next inspired way, not just this mini, but to express myself in life. What is the next thing? I do not feel stuck anywhere because I decide not to be stuck. How about you? I will tell you, I had a little fear and trepidation around something that changed this week in the marketing of this center. Anyone notice it? Was it great? Yay! Yeah, in the email. How do you like Helen and I on camera together? In case any of you are totally oblivious to what we're talking about because you're signed up for our email list but never read the emails. No, I get it because, trust me, I get 8 gazillion emails that I look through and I'm like, delete. delete, 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 and I never read them. But now we're giving you something new in the expression of the email, which is it's linking you to a video of me and Helen having a chat with you and telling you what's happening here at the center. Take a look at it. We're just having fun with it. So that's an expression of moving beyond the paradigm. We're doing something that is not typically done in these emails and in the marketing of centers. I really want a face for this center. I want us to be the face of this center as a community as we expand ourselves into the larger community of Toronto and help them understand that there is a way of thinking that is life-affirming and supportive and not destructive. But it's up to each and every one of us to step into that way of being. A foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds. One of Ernest Holmes. One of Emerson's most famous quotes, a foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds, comes from this particular essay, Self-Reliance. Consistency. Now, some people misquote this, by the way, because they want to take away the word foolish, and they say, consistency is the hobgoblin of small minds. That means that I must always be out there and crazy and changing. No, a foolish consistency. What are the things that we're holding on to foolishly? And are they serving us, or are they not serving us? A foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds. A foolish consistency is that thing which can help us realize the littleness we think we are experiencing as our mind. The truth is, we are greater than that, each and every one of us. We are connected to a unified whole that is unstoppable. A foolish consistency stops it. And so, what are you stepping into today? When we are in a foolish consistency, that which makes us ourselves is compromised. That which makes us ourselves is compromised. And it is compromised when we think we need to blindly take on the ideas of others. Or worse, when we feel justified in vehemently defending our own ideas. And that's one thing that differs, that differentiates this philosophy. We are open and we are inclusive and we are welcoming to people of all faiths. See, this philosophy was never meant to be a religion. It was merely constructed as a teaching method under a religious paradigm, so you show up here on a Sunday, which feels very churchy. It was never really intended to be that. In fact, the philosophy started off, the organization started off as the Institute of Religious Science. It was later changed to the Church of Religious Science. But it was really intended to be a teaching philosophy. And so that's where I really want to be clear that you can be Catholic and be in New Thought. You can hold on to Catholic principles. You can be Jewish and hold on to your Jewish principles and be New Thought. You can be Buddhist, you can be Hindu, you can be whatever. Because we teach two things that are not religious in nature at all. The two things we teach are we are part of a unified whole that is energy. And the world, our universe, our lives operate based on a law of cause and effect. That's it. What's religious about that? We have taken those two ideas and we've actually made them religious sounding by saying this unified whole energy we call God. But that's just because we've named it something. But it is not anything other than a creative energy, a creative principle. That's it. And this creative principle operates based on one idea, cause and effect. For everything that shows up, there is a cause behind it. That's the effect, here is the cause. That's it. So I mention this because there are a lot of philosophies religious philosophies specifically that are very interested in vehemently defending their ideas because they think they are right. Anyone experience that? They think they're right. And the whole purpose of being right is so that you can get somewhere. Where are we getting to? We're not going anywhere. The most important thing for me is to have a deeper understanding that life right now is the thing to be lived. Life right now is all there is. I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not going to heaven. I am living in heaven. I know I'm not going to hell, except there are a lot of people who would say that I was, but I am not. I either live in hell now or I live in heaven now. And this is the only moment, right here, right now. This is all that exists. What is more self-reliant than that? When I recognize and know that this is it and this is who I am, and I stand forth fully courageous to be who I am fully and to lay a stake in that there is nothing that allows me to drift off course of that idea, then I am living a full life. Now, a lot of people come here because they feel their lives might feel small, and they're looking for some kind of expansion. And people come here because their lives are expanded, and they're simply coming here to celebrate this idea. Just allow yourself to be in a place of recognition of where you are in that scale. And then allow yourself the recognition of knowing where do you want to be, because there is always room for more. Because the universe, this universal creative principle, is infinite. And so, my understanding of being fully self-reliant is also laying claim to this idea that there is always more, there is never an end, and so my life is constantly unfolding in ways that are extraordinary. And they get more extraordinary because I lay claim to the idea that my life is always unfolding in ways that are extraordinary. And I don't need to defend it. All I need to do is live it. And so I don't defend this place with anyone. I don't defend my beliefs with anyone. I simply live my beliefs. And I welcome everyone to have a deeper understanding of what their beliefs are. And I don't question other people's beliefs. What I may offer is this question for contemplation. Are your beliefs working for you? Are your beliefs working for you? Because your belief is the cause to your life, which is the effect. Change your thought, and change your world. I wrote this. Have you ever gotten into an argument with someone where neither of you were listening, only defending? I'm sure we've all had that experience, right? Never? Ever? No, Tanis has never had that experience. Not in the past 5 minutes. I like that. There are two things in this. One, truth doesn't need defense. Truth is truth. Truth does not need defense. Number two, it is okay for us to change our minds. It is okay for us to change our minds. You know, one of the things I also brought up in the class this week is this idea of, politicians, and they lay out their platform and they say that this is what they believe in. And the moment a politician has a new idea or changes their mind, all of a sudden the world explodes because, oh my gosh, they're a flip-flopper. What? Why do they not have the right to change their minds? If it weren't for people changing their minds, there would not be evolution in this world. Well, there would be natural evolution, but there would not be an evolution of ideas or of society. There would not be a growth of society. That naturally occurs because people change their minds and they challenge us to think something new. They challenge us to a new thought. It's kind of like what Emerson talks about in the essay. What seems to be a straight line in the path of a sailing ship, if you look closely enough, is actually a ship that tacks. It actually goes zigzags back and forth. And so our lives are constantly zigzagging back and forth. Sometimes we're heading into the wind, then we're going this way, we're going this way. And at the end of the day, it all seems like a straight line, because if you step back from it far enough, it looks like a straight line. But our lives do zigzag, and that's okay. There is no one who can tell you what is right for you. No one. And not a single one of us should try to tell others what is right. It is our responsibility to keep the high watch over our own minds. The joy of life, the happiness we seek, it is all, 100% of it, sourced in the self. The joy of life, the happiness we seek, is all sourced from the self, the capital S self, and nothing else. And this is what I feel the purpose of spiritual practice is about. What you feel is important. What you feel is important. And for me, spiritual practice is about getting clearer and clearer on what I feel. And if something doesn't feel right, to know that I have the tools to shift it. Now, we can look outside ourselves for catalysts. Emerson's essay on self-reliance is a tremendously amazing catalyst for me to go deeper. But true self-reliance is inspired from within. You can never, you ready for this? You can never be more spiritual than you are right now. You can never be more than you are right now. You can never be more anything than you are right now. Because the whole of this universal principle is flowing through you. How can you be more than the whole of it flowing through you? What you can come to is a deeper realization of who you already are, and a deeper revelation of it in the expression of your life, so that you are living it more freely. That's true self-reliance. It takes courage. It takes courage. It takes confidence. It takes self-reliance, which then makes me think of Harold. How many of you are in the Emerson class? Yes. So you know I'm going to talk about Harold. Harold, God bless Harold. I talked about Harold a couple years ago in service. Harold is the older gentleman that I met when I was on the RSVP cruise, the very first one I did. The RSVP cruise, which was, RSVP is a gay cruise chartering company, and so every February for the last several years I have gone on this gay cruise, and we have a lot of fun, dancing and, and they market it in a way that makes it seem like, oh my gosh, only the most model-esque of gentlemen are going to be on this ship. Not true. So I was in Half Moon Cay, which is in the Bahamas, and it was our final port on this particular cruise back in 2013. Yeah, 2013. And they had picnic tables set up, and I grabbed my lunch, and I went and I sat down at my picnic table, and there was this gentleman sitting next to me, and he was, by himself. He was an older man, probably in his late 50s, early 60s. From the standpoint that many people would consider, because what we've been culturalized to believe, from the standpoint of a culturalized belief, he was not a good-looking person. He was not a good-looking guy. Now, all people are beautiful, right? But all the marketing says you have to look this way. He didn't look like that. And he did not look particularly happy. And so I struck up a conversation with him. I said, hey, hello. I said hello, and it was like, oh my God. Somebody is talking to me. Here we are at the end of a 7-day cruise, and this man is having this experience of, oh my gosh, somebody actually sees me. Still makes me really emotional. Can you imagine living your life not feeling like you're seen? we talked a lot, and I got to the core of recognition that he did not really value his place in this world. He had been coming on these cruises for like 15 years, and he had never felt worthy. And I trust that I was there at the right and perfect time for him to shift. Because what we came to is this idea. He said, how do I put myself out there? There's a tremendous amount of shyness that he was experiencing. I said, you know what? Here's what I suggest. Just say hello. And you may recall that's really what I came to in that talk a few years ago. Just say hello. Step into a place of your own power by not assuming people are going to approach you if you want to have relationships with people. Step forward and just say hello. And he said, but what if they reject me? I said, let them go. If they reject you, that's probably the universe protecting you from somebody that you don't want to know anyway because they don't get who you are. And if they reject you, go up to the next person and just say hello. You don't need to know or do anything beyond that. Because when you connect with somebody at that level, at the level of recognition of who you are and who they are, all of it flows naturally. That is inspiration. But it takes courage, it takes confidence, it takes self-reliance. And so here's the final word on Harold and on this day. Insist on yourself, never imitate. Insist on yourself, never imitate. That is another quote of Emerson from this essay. We have all heard the phrase, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Yes, but is it? Is it flattery? Or do we imitate in order to feel like we fit in? If that's the point of view from which imitation is occurring, I invite you to think differently. Stand firmly resolved in the understanding of who you are. Because at the end of the day, who is it that we are trying to flatter? And why? What makes you yourself? What makes you yourself? That's really the question. And there's no real way of knowing the answer to that. There's no real way of knowing. Spiritual practice helps. It helps bring me to a place of deeper clarity in my life. And yet, in being a unique individual, the only acceptable understanding comes from within. So spiritual practice, a practice that is something that is outside of the self, helps. But ultimately, it is up to each and every one of us to listen to that still small voice within, because that is the truth. When I come to that understanding, I find that I no longer feel separate from life. I realize more profoundly that life is living me, and I get to captain the ship. This livingness, this life, is totally subject to my desires, my ideas, and my beliefs. This thing, self-reliance, is not about an intellectual understanding, ever. Rather, it is about the embodiment of an idea of good. That's what life is about. So I want to end today with this. I want to end with this quote, which is not Emerson. But I know that Ernest Holmes was inspired by Emerson with this particular idea. So this is a quote of Ernest Holmes that I'm going to end with today. The answer to life is not to develop a metaphysical system to explain why God is good, but to live here and now in the goodness of God. The answer to life is not to develop a metaphysical system to explain why God is good, but to live here and now in the goodness of God. Think about the profound idea that is. Then I'm going to invite you all to close your eyes. And we're going to end in a way that I don't typically. But as you close your eyes, as you relax right into where you are, I did this during our prayer circle before the service, I invite you to repeat these words with a breath. I am here. I am here. I am here. I am. I am. I am. Now bring your hands to your heart. I. The answer to life is not to develop a metaphysical system to explain why God is good, but to live here and now in the goodness of God. Namaste. So as we take a breath in, it's so funny, I usually drink a lot of water during my talks. I haven't had a single sip today.
No.
A couple of things that I want to tell you about, and something I know Helen wants to tell you about, even though she's run away. Well, I'll start with this. I'll let Helen speak later when she comes back. I want to remind everybody that we are still taking directed donations to purchase this beautiful painting by Jane Roos. The total cost is $6,000. We have raised a third of that. Yay! A couple of things that the purchase of this painting does. Number one, the artist supports CAN Fund, which is the Canadian Athletes Fund. So it is helping support the expenses of the athletes who are at the Pan Am Games this summer, as well as going to the Olympics next year. That's number one. Number two, we receive a 30% return on on the purchase price of this painting. That $1,800 is going to be directed towards establishing a youth program at this center, a vital youth program, in a way that it has not been here before. I do want you to know that Mahala is here today, and we have some kids here today. Mahala is now here through the summer. Yay! So please, if you have family, let them know that they can bring their kids, and Mahala is happy to be with them. That's number one. Number two is this idea. When Mahala goes back to university, we want to have something established. So, there it is. This painting is going to help us establish that. So I encourage you all to, reach into your hearts and understand that we as a community can support the youth who can learn from these ideas. Value, self-reliance, self-esteem, and self-worth. These are the things that change the world, not a philosophical paradigm. So, I invite you to take whatever it is you're offering the center today. I should grab mine. If you are part of the Step Up program, you can grab your card and hold it in your hand. If you are making a cash donation, you can hold your envelope in your hand. If you are online, you can make a donation by clicking the donate button on the screen there. But allow yourself to recognize the truth of this gift. The truth of this gift is that it is simply another expression of this universal principle for good. And it flows through this center, and it unfolds in greatness by means of each and every one of us. So I trust and know that the Board of Trustees of this center brilliantly utilize these funds. And I know that they support an idea that is good and that is always unfolding, and it nourishes each and every one of us, spiritually and physically. And so as the baskets go around, we're going to sing, "What Do I Have to Give?"
Yes.
Yes, so feel free to stand up and enjoy.
What do I have to give? What do I need to live? What do I have to share? What do I do to show I care? Oh, what do I have to give? What do I need to live? What do I have to share? What do I do to show I care? Oh, what do I have to give? What do I need to live? What do I have to share? What do I do to show I care? What do I give? What do I give? What do I give?
Linda, would you be so kind as to do a blessing over the offering?
Good. So in this precious moment, as I know that the divine creative spirit, God, is expressing through each and every one of us here today, I'm grateful for our center. I'm grateful for Reverend Jonathan, for Helen and the board. And as we give, the law of circulation is always at work. As we give, we receive. As we receive, we give. We are so blessed. So with an open, grateful heart, I say thank you, thank you, thank you. And together we say, and so it is.
Thank you, Linda. Helen? Helen, hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. I just want to talk a little bit about the 2015 Canadian New Thought Conference that is happening June 4th to 7th. And for any of you who saw the email that went out this week, we featured what was happening on Friday the 5th. And Friday the 5th is shaping up to be a phenomenal day. If you don't know what's happening that day, here, let me tell you.
Do we have
Listen
an
to
hour?
my words. We have, first of all, in the morning, we have two incredible speakers. One from Vancouver, a man named Steve Curtis, who is, he's now 39 years old. At 23, he was an internet millionaire. And then he was diagnosed with a rare form of lymphoma and was told that there is no cure for it and that nobody has lived from it. Well, he's still living. And he changed everything, including his mind. And he now runs a $40 million company. He travels all over the world finding the latest botanicals for healing. And so he's going to be talking about his experience on Friday morning, followed by Dr. Budri Ricky, who is a psychiatrist from the, I want to say the University of Calgary. It's not that. He, although he is from Calgary and has a practice there, he also was a winner of the Rogers Prize, which is the largest prize in Canada for integrative medicine. And this man has a book called The Cosmic Game. And he is an incredible spiritual mentor for me personally, and for many, many people. And he's sort of known as the wacko kind of psychiatrist, medical doctor, because he believes in spirituality and the power of the mind. And he has done phenomenal research. He's doing research right now with Deepak Chopra on how the divine consciousness changes DNA in the body. So he's also going to be speaking on Friday morning. Then we have all kinds of workshops in the afternoon that have to do with health and healing. And then in the evening, we have Dr. Patricia Campbell from the Center for Spiritual Living in Calgary speaking, as well as Dr. Joan Borisenko. And I don't know if you know who she is. She's a Hay House speaker. She has a lot of books out on the mind-body connection and healing, and has traveled all over the world speaking. She's a phenomenal woman, an absolute delight to listen to. So Friday's going to be an amazing day at the conference, and I'm totally pumped for it. And if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, please do. You can get a full day pass for $175 for that day. You can also buy the full conference pass on our website. And I have one other bit of news to give you about the conference. Our Facebook page jumped 120 likes in about 24 hours yesterday. So here's my goal. By this time next week, let's have 1,000 likes on our Facebook page. So please go on and like the page. Please invite your friends to like it. And let's spread the news about this great conference that we're presenting to the city of Toronto and beyond. And let's fill those seats. So thank you.
Thank you, Helen.
As we go into a time of reflection on what we've heard today, I have one more quote from Emerson that I want to share. Because one of the things that we've taken on is a branding of an idea. We have branded the idea of prayer within this particular philosophy, and we call it spiritual mind treatment. But I want to take back the word prayer. And I want to take back the word prayer with this idea, as Emerson writes. Prayer is the contemplation of the facts of life from the highest point of view. It is a soliloquy of a beholding and jubilant soul. It is the Spirit of God pronouncing his works good. But prayer as a means to effect a private end is a meanness and theft. It supposes dualism and not unity in nature and consciousness. As soon as the man is at one with God, he will not beg. He will then see prayer in all action. So I invite you to hear what it is that has touched you today, and allow that to be a prayer that affects your heart and soul.
Out of the ruins and rubble, out of the smoke, out of our night of struggle, can we see a ray of hope, one pale thin ray reaching for the day. We can build a beautiful city. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can build a beautiful city, not a city of angels, but we can build a city of men. We may not see the ending, but we can start slowly but truly mending, brick by brick, heart by heart. Now, maybe now, we'll start learning how beautiful city. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can build a beautiful city, not a city of angels, but we can build a city of men.
We can build a city of man. We can build a city of humanity. We can build a city that is built on the foundation of an understanding of who we are. We are a divine, unified force for good. I recognize the good in all we do, all we say. I recognize only good. I recognize that God is present right here and right now as a principle of creation and nothing else. And we are all utilizing this principle for good in our lives. I trust this and know this. I build upon this idea with the knowledge that this foundation is simply the greatness of life lived to its fullest. And so each and every one of us right here and right now lives life to its fullest. I recognize and know that this spiritual community is perfectly supporting personal expansion and transformation. That our reach goes so far beyond these walls that we cannot help but touch all of humanity. And I realize that this foundation is built too upon every single person who steps up and says yes, which is each and every one of us. We say yes to life. We say, yes, it is done. We say yes, yes, yes. And so it is in gratitude that I simply allow this to be. Grateful for everyone who has stepped up today in sacred service. I'm grateful to Carol and Helen as our board members today. I'm grateful to Lori for setting up. I'm grateful to Jim and Lynette, our greeters. I'm grateful to Margaret Ann in the bookstore. Grateful to Dane on sound and Kimon on our webcast. I'm grateful to Mahala with those beautiful, beautiful souls, those dynamic kids. I'm grateful to Pierre Gautreau and the entire Queen Street Band. I am grateful to Judy Southern for her beautiful meditation today, honoring her path as she becomes a practitioner. And I am grateful to Linda Visosky. I am grateful for who she shows up as, not just today, but every single day in her life. For she shows up as love. This is all I see, and this is all I experience. And so with this, and with a breath, I give over to the understanding that the word spoken is complete, and so I let it be. I release this word to that law of cause and effect and know it is done. And the experience of it is now. And in letting it be so, I know it is so, as together we say, and so it is.
When your heart is all but shattered, when your faith is all but killed, you can give up bitter and battered, or you can slowly start to build a beautiful city. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can build a beautiful city, not a city of angels, but finally a city of man. A city of man.
All So we're going to kick it out into the street today with Don't Stop. I want to thank you all for being here today. I'm grateful that you let me go a little bit over our time today. I know it's late, but I hope it was worth it. I trust it was worth it. Yes? Yes. All right, we'll see you all next week. Hit it, guys. Hit it.
If you wake up and don't want to smile, if it takes just a little while, open your eyes and look at the day. You'll see things in a different way. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. You'll be here better than before. Yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone. Why not think about the times to come and not about the things that you've done? If your life was bad to you, just think what tomorrow will do. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be here better than before. Yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone. All I want is to see you smile. If it takes just a little while, I know you don't believe that it's true. I never meant any harm to you. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be here better than before. Yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be here better than before. Yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone. Ooh, don't you look back. Ooh, don't you look back. Ooh, don't you look back. Ooh, don't you look back.
Have a great week.